Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Have a good one. All right, Kavian Thomas. All right, number 3, Miss Rondon and Bostic, 23 CP 219025. Kavian Thomas, 265 days, not on this charge, though, on other counts, other cases he has. Without indictment, he's got aggravated assault and riot in a penal institution. Pre-trial.
10 prior cycles. Open case 23 SC 186720, firearm by theft by receiving misdemeanor possession. Judge Richardson, 23 CP 22987, battery and riot. 23 CP 219025, aggravated assault and riot. There's a 2020 conviction for theft by receiving 2 felonies, 2 misdemeanors. Both of those are for battery, nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Miss Rondon.
Mr. Thomas is 23 years old. He is a lifelong resident of the Atlanta area and does have his entire family here, and that does include his child. Mr. Thomas has an 11th grade education, and prior to his arrest, he was working in construction. I would ask for bond to be set in this case, Your Honor, and I would ask for $10,000 on count 1 and $5,000 on count 2.
All right, what says the state?
Your Honor, the state would be asking for high bond in this case, no less than $80,000. The state is concerned with this risk to reoffend with these personal offenses while the defendant is in incarceration, particularly those offenses Madam Pretrial stated, but 220987, and then also the recent personal offense that he had that I believe he had a battery for. Just the amount of personal offenses involved involving the defendant at the jail gives the state significant concern to risk to reoffend and endanger the community if he was released, Your Honor, or if he's released.
All right, so I got no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with Rodney, Derodney Russell, Russell, and commander paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, employment, as long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment schedule, and the exact location you're going to be working. Stay out of Fulton County unless you're for court or to see your lawyer. Absolutely no other reason for you to come to Fulton County. You understand? All right, he nodded in the affirmative. 20,000 count 1, 5,000 count 2. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Back at you. All right, Jermaine Davis, Ramadan Salim. Thank you, sir. Let's see. Position 6.
That's my case, Judge.
All right,
Yeah.
Position 6, 23 CP 218820. 89 days without indictment, no bond as of June 3rd. Driving, fleeing, and attempting to elude, too fast for conditions, prima facie speed, driving in an emergency lane, improper red lane change, reckless driving, driving license suspended or revoked, failure to obey traffic control devices or stop signs, aggravated assault against a law enforcement officer while engaged in official duty, aggravated assault against a law enforcement officer while engaged in official duty. 2 counts of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Pre-trial.
8 prior arrests, 1 misdemeanor, 2 arrests for probation violation, felony conviction, 06 Act battery, nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Harvey.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, Judge. Mr. Salim is 37 years old. He's been raised in Atlanta his entire life. He's got 2 children, one 7 months old, one 7 years old. He's got his parents who live here and support him and would support him. He's got his wife who is on, I believe I saw her monitoring this hearing. Her name is Zakia, and she lives with Mr. Salim and obviously helps to take care of the children. He would live at one of 2 addresses, depending upon Your Honor. You can see him in the booth at 7N. As a result of this incident, he was shot. He has lost an eye. He was in Grady. He had extensive medical treatment in Grady. I went to visit him in Grady. He is now at the worst place in the United States of America where somebody just died this weekend. And he needs professional medical care. He also has, excuse me, he's got a job, a confirmed job at Chance, the #1 boxers. It's a boxing industry. I've got a letter saying he's got a job waiting for him, and That's from the owner and CEO of that company. I've got a letter, and I can scan and send all these letters from the resident imam that counsels inmates at Fulton County, and that is Imam Furqan, Furqan. He's the resident imam, and he has been counseling Mr. Salim since his incarceration at Fulton County. So I've got letters from an employee, he's got employment. I've got letters from the imam who's been counseling him. I got letters from his parents. He's got a job, he's got a place to live. He's never failed to appear in court before. And Judge, one other thing, and I know that this is somewhat difficult to say over this particular public forum, but Mr. Salim has some mental health problems. He has been not incarcerated, but he has been an inpatient several times at Grady for psychiatric problems. He needs medical treatment and psychiatric treatment. And the last place he's going to get either one of them is the Fulton County Jail. So I'd ask the court to set a bond on all these charges. A reasonable bond, I think, would be somewhere in the total neighborhood of $50,000.
All right, what says the state?
Your Honor, the state will be asking for a higher bond of at least $160,000. The state is concerned with the aggravated assault against a law enforcement officer charges, particularly shooting at 2 troopers as alleged in the warrants. I do understand the defendant's history and perhaps his injuries as well, but just given the nature of those kind of allegations. Also, the state is concerned about a series of arrests that the defendant have that are of a similar nature. He was not convicted of that, but the state is concerned by that, and the aggravated battery, which I know has been over 10 years that is on his history. Also, I think the defendant will be a flight risk, as there is some Tennessee and Louisiana history of arrests. But the state is concerned primarily with the shooting at the law enforcement officers, Your Honor. I would ask for no violent contact with law enforcement, curfew, ankle monitor, and no weapons.
I have no problems with those conditions. I do object to the allegations in the warrants. And let me tell you 2 things, and let me tell you 2 reasons why. Number one, there are 2 firearms by a convicted felon. Both of those are at the same time and same place that can only be, the unit of prosecution is 1 unit of prosecution. Number 2, I personally hand filed a motion for a preliminary hearing on June 21st of 2023. I have not yet had a preliminary hearing. I don't believe that the evidence is going to bear out the allegations in the warrant. And I've been wanting a preliminary hearing. I have a right to a preliminary hearing. We haven't had a preliminary hearing since I filed this in June, July, August. I mean, how long does it take to get a prelim with no indictment? So, Judge, I think a $50,000 bond with ankle monitoring, with confinement, except with your usual conditions, would satisfy all of the IALA factors. And at this particular point, we're going to walk into the 90 days. So he's going to be entitled, give him a reasonable bond. Let him take care of his kids and get medical treatment and psychiatric treatment.
Anything else from the state? From the state?
Your Honor, I would just address that it appears that there are 2 firearms alleged in the warrants. So I guess I'd have to review the code, but I don't believe there'd be any issue with him being charged, since there's a SCCY 9mm and a Glock 19 9mm, which I'd imagine would suffice for the firearm by felon count.
But there can be only 1 conviction.
All right, let's see. Sorry, this is going to Ted. So we'll have no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 448 Boulevard Southeast. No further contact with Trooper Jabari Horn, Horne, or Trooper Cedric Ritchie, RICHE, unless it's in their official capacity. You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, employment, as long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. Right? If you're gonna live in Decatur, stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court. See your lawyer, medical if you have to return to Grady, and employment, since I think it's in College Park. I don't know if it's on the Fulton County or the Clayton County side, sir, but if it's make sure you just let them know where it's at and exact and the times you'll be working, okay? And sir, my hat's off to you. If you go seek mental health treatment, that's fantastic. More people should, and I support you in that. So if you need to leave for mental health treatment, you can also do that. There's nothing to be, ashamed of. That's absolutely fantastic. You should be proud if you need help that you go get it. We all should do that. All right. So I got 5,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 3,000, 1,000. Then I got 100, 30,000, 30,000, 20, and 10. Let me say that one more time. 5,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 3,000, 1,000, 100 on the failure to obey traffic control devices, then 30,000, 30,000, 20,000, and 10,000. And that ankle monitor.
100,000 or $100?
Oh, on the traffic control devices is $100. Yes.
Okay, thank you. You said 100, and I'm thinking, whoa, it's a misdemeanor. What are we doing here?
That was a serious stop sign, right?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's $100.
So what's the total, Judge?
Well, I didn't do the total. I was just writing them down.
Is it around 120?
I think so.
Yeah.
60, maybe 90. All right, best of luck to you, sir. Oh yeah, and no driving, so your bond is modified. That you were going
Thank
over
you,
90 miles an hour. So best of luck to you, sir. No driving till your bond's modified. Best of luck to you. You can leave the booth. Thank you, Mr. Harvey.
Thank you, Judge. I'm leaving the Zoom.